Hey guys, Nigel here with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench. Just thought I'd do a quick channel update really, because there's a few things to tell you, really a few things to talk about. First one is to say thank you very much to all my new subscribers. Thank you for coming along and signing up. And also thank you to my new patrons, which is very much appreciated. Thank you very much for your generosity. It is very much appreciated. Thank you very much. And you'll see your name go through the scroll at the end of this month or beginning of June. Thanks to all those that came up to me at the Milton Keynes show. It was lovely to meet you all. Lovely to see, sort of put names to faces, even though I didn't recognise any of your names, I'm sorry. But with 18,000 subs, I guess it's not going to happen very much. But it's certainly very nice. And it's very strange that people always come up to me and say, you're a lot taller than I thought you'd be. So I guess that's going to be the line now. So yeah, I'm 5'11 3/4. I'm just under 6 foot, so not that tall really. But yeah, it was really good show. It's Milton Keynes has always been one of if not my favourite show. It's not as big as Telford, and I got a feeling this year's show wasn't quite as big as others I've been to. It's moved places now. It's at the Milton Keynes football ground in the sort of hall at the back of there, and very interesting to see. They were setting up for a football game, so that was interesting. So yeah, so thanks to everybody. Very good show. Thanks to everyone that came and said hello. I have some really good news for you Lancaster fans out there, particularly 32nd scale. I have some figures on the way, some actual in-position figures with a difference. The set has been designed fundamentally for the Hong Kong Models kit, and also on top of that for the Hong Kong Models nose art kit. And the figures have been made in such a way that you can do a Dam Busters display sort of thing. So you've got the nose gunner and the bomb aimer in there together. The bomb aimer's got the little the little catapult thing they used, whatever it was, to line up for the gun turrets on the dam, which you don't often see because the bomb aimer was often the nose gunner, as you know. So you don't often see those two together. So you got those in there together. And then you've got the flight engineer next to the sort of stood and sitting, if you like, on his chair next to the pilot. And you've got the pilot obviously seated flying the aircraft. So that's a set of 4 figures that will go into the nose art kit and look absolutely lovely. And the guy that's selling them has told me that basically if there's enough interest, he will do the upper gunner and the tail gunner as well, so you can actually have a normal sort of set. So, and the bomb aimer will come with hands as well as just, so you've got hands holding the catapult thing, but you'll also have one with just hands, so you can actually be using the bomb aiming equipment. And then moving on from there, obviously, as I say, it's designed to fit the Hong Kong Models kit. As we know, the Hong Kong Models kit has the incorrect shaped seat. The seat is like too long in its base. So if you put the pilot in a Robert Marzocchi seat or in the Border Models seat, it's probably going to look odd. So they're going to be adjusted to suit the other kits as well, I think. So yeah, when they come along, I will do a review and show you them and everything, and go from there. I think there's going to be a few little special changes, so you're going to have to buy them for whatever kit you've got. For example, I know for a fact that on the Hong Kong Models turrets, they have the grips, the trigger grips, you call them handlebars if you like, are like this, so they're vertical, whereas in reality they should be like this, like handlebars on a racing bike, on a racing motorbike. Now the Border Models obviously has it correct, because it's X-wing, not wings, so it's going to be correct. So it's like that. So obviously there's going to be a slight movement of the arms and a twisting of the wrists required to make the figures fit the Border Models. So I'm assuming they're going to actually adjust the arms and that to suit. So we will go from there. We'll see what happens. And also size-wise, the turret in the Border Models looks larger internally than the actual turret in the Hong Kong Models kit. So we shall have to see. I will let them know how it all goes. And talking about that, there's one other thing I want to talk about. I seem to be getting a lot of comments with the Border Models Lanc. If I say it's Border Models, people say it's not Border Models, it's Wings Not Wings. And if I say it's Border Models X Wing Not Wings, I'm getting what people are saying, why do you refer to it as Wing Not Wings? Wing Not Wings never sold it. Right, this is how it is. Wing Nut Wings designed the kit. Okay, Wingnut Wings did a lot of engineering work and all the CAD design and everything. This is as far as I know. I don't know any of this for sure, but I could only assume that because back in 2018, obviously met Richard Alexander on the Wingnut Wings stand with the Lancaster test shots there. We've all seen the pictures and the wing leaders stuff where they had the guys from Wingnut Wings sat there with a load of about 3 or 4 of them all on the table in front of them. So we know that Wingnut Wings made the original test shots, so the kit is ex-Wingnut Wings. Now, a lot of manufacturers, other than I think Revell, Airfix and Tamiya, probably has Segawa, they don't have their own moulding facilities. In fact, I don't think Airfix have their own moulding facilities anymore. It's all subcontracted out. So certainly in China, a lot of the moulding is subcontracted out. The actual kit manufacturer only does the design. And if you look at Border Models kits, as opposed to this Lancaster, if anything, as a plastic model, okay, not as a design project or anything like that, or engineering, but as a plastic model, Border Models kits are probably better than the Lancaster kit is. So the Chinese company took on the contract to make the tooling for Wingnut Wings, and then after the demise of Wingnut Wings, Border Models have come along, bought the tooling, and have fettled and finished and refined and everything to get a production kit out of it. So the kit is ex-Wingnut Wings, and I refer to it as ex-Wingnut Wings, and I always will, because Wingnut Wings developed the kit. Wingnut Wings never sold the Fokker DR1 in 1/32 scale, but we all know that Meng had the tooling. So whether Wingnut Wings got Meng to design and manufacture the kit and then Meng took the tooling over and sold it after the demise of Wingnut Wings, I don't know. I don't know if Meng have their own manufacturing facility. But basically, every time you hear people talk about the Meng 1/32 scale Fokker triplane, they will refer to it as ex-Wingnut Wings, because it is. It's an ex-Wingnut Wings kit. It's the same as, I've commented only today on it, it's the same as I will refer to the Revell Gladiator as ex-ICM. Yes, ICM sold it, but ICM also engineered it. Okay, so the fact that Wingnut Wings never sold the Lancaster makes no difference. It's a Wingnut Wings engineered kit. Okay, and somebody else has bought the tooling. It's the same as, you know, Revell will market an ex-Academy helicopter, or they will produce an ex-ICM aircraft. They've done ex-special hobby kits, but most of the time I think the original manufacturer makes the parts and Revell pack them. But in this case, this is actually manufacturer has bought the tooling, the same as Meng have done with the Fokker triplane. So that's why I refer to it as ex-Wingnut Wings. If I call it Border Model, people will say it's not Border Model, it's Wingnut Wings. So that's why I do it. And we all know that Wingnut Wings have their foibles, like the very tight fit and tight tolerances and all that. The very high level of accuracy moulded into single pieces rather than 50 different parts. That's something Wingnut Wings have always been renowned for and very good at. And also sprue attachment points in sensible places, not, you know, having a sprue attachment point in the least required space you'd want it in. So that's that. And also on about Lancasters, I have a review coming, which I'm going to start working on very soon. It's going to be a biggie. I've got 14 kits of Lancasters, and basically I'm going to do is a review of all the kits I have, and just my take on, you know, how they score for engineering and design and accuracy and all that. So there we go. Mr. Surfacer, there appears to be a world shortage of this Mr. Surfacer Black. Okay, this is the 1500. I'm not sure if you can get a 1200 as well. This is the 1500. There appears to be a world shortage, and this is my last jar. I use this stuff all the time, as you know. And I was asked the other night by, I think it was Sarah, about alternatives. Now, as far as I know, if you know different, please tell me. But I think if you get Mr. Finishing Surfacer, okay, and Mr. Surfacer, I think they're pretty much the same thing. They certainly react the same way to thinning. They go down the same. They sand the same and everything. But there's, I mean, for example, there's Mr. Finishing Surfacer 1500 Pink. Now, I would imagine they are exactly the same product with a different colour pigmentation. So, you know, if you don't worry what colour your paint is, then that should be a direct replacement for that. So if you can't get your black, you should be able to use black, you should, a grey, white, silver. I mean, there's Mr. Finishing Surfacer 1500 white. So, you know, if it's too thin for you, okay, dispense some into a Tamiya pot or into a beer bottle cap or something, and just let it sit for 10 minutes and it will thicken up. If it's too thick, then just thin it down with some Mr. Colour Leveling thinners. I don't advise thinning this with rapid thinners, okay? That's the Mr. Hobby Rapid Thinner. I don't advise thinning this with that and spraying it as a primer, because in my experience, I have found that the finish can be quite rough, because it's drying so fast that it's going down and it's coming out as like a powder almost and drying on the surface very quickly. Whereas if you use the Mr. Colour Leveling Thinners, this one here, okay, it's a leveling thinner. It takes longer to dry. I mean, we're talking 10 minutes instead of 1 minute, and it sort of levels it out. Okay, if you do get that grady finish, spray some of that neat over your paint and it will level it out. So yeah, people have asked me about alternatives. Now, here's one. You could use the Tamiya one, but obviously it only comes in a rattle can. So I've had this for bloody years. I don't think I've ever used it. Oh yes, I have. So, but I very rarely like to use rattle cans, and I don't like dispensing into bottles and stuff. It's too messy. So people have asked about alternatives. Here's a good alternative: the MRP. Is it MRP Fine Surface Primer Black? It's the same sort of thing, but, and this is a big but, it's a hell of a lot thinner. You're going to use a hell of a lot more of that to cover, like I did in that Lancaster Bombay. I painted the sort of, you know, the Bombay's like this big. It's like 12 inches long. Ooh. I probably would have used a quarter of that bottle to paint that. It's so thin, but the beauty of it is in that respect, it is so thin. It is so fine. So if you're doing little figures, like, you know, 48 scale figures or whatever, and you want to prime them, this stuff is amazing for that because it is so fine. It really is. This has been suggested as an alternative. This is the MIG Ammo one-shot primer. AK do a version, I can't think what it's called now, and then you've got your UMPs. It's all the same thing. It's Badger Stynel res. It's made in the USA. It's a very good primer, but it is not the same thing in any stretch of the imagination, really. As a primer, just spraying it on, okay? So if you're spraying a World War II tank, say, and you just want to prime it, and then you're going to paint it, absolutely brilliant. You could use this. You could use the Viejo stuff, which has got a polyurethane in it. The trouble is when you come to sand it with the Viejo stuff, it tends to peel off. This is, as a spraying on primer, it's very good. You can't use it the same as you do with the Mr. Surfacer, you know, where you see me put it in seams and then use alcohol and rub it away. You can't use it like that. The other problem with this stuff is it thickens with age, and I have yet to find anything that will actually thin it nicely. I've tried using Mr. Colour Leveling Thinners, and it thinned it once, and then the next time I tried it, it turned it into cottage cheese. So I don't know. I have been told you can use Tamiya thinners with it. Please let me know in the comments below if you know what you thin that with successfully for spraying it. So yeah, there we go. So there is a world shortage of Mr. Finishing Surfacer Black 1500. But if you don't care about it being black, you could any of the Mr. Surfacer products. I don't really know what the 1200 and 1500 is. I don't know if it's actually a pigment in the Mr. Surfacer or if it's actually just the viscosity of it. I don't know. But I've certainly thinned Mr. Surfacer 500, which is the real thick stuff. I've thinned that down heavily and sprayed that through a 0.3 needle absolutely fine. So I don't know. I've got a feeling it's just down to its viscosity. And people often say, how much do you thin this? And I never answer the question. The trouble is you get a 6-week-old bottle of Mr. Surfacer 1000 that's been opened and closed and opened and closed. It'll be a lot thicker than a freshly unopened bottle. It thickens up. I mean, in the summer, you can watch it form a skin before your very eyes, literally in 10 seconds. on a hot day, you can open the lid and just watch it skin. It's crazy. But the other thing with it is it self-dissolves. So when you've got all the cakey crap around the top, you can scrape it off and push it back in, and it will dissolve in there absolutely fine. So there we go. A few people have asked about stickers. I don't have them yet. So as soon as I get the stickers, I will send some out, but I don't have them yet, I'm afraid. I'm still waiting for them to come. And also, some of you pleased to know, probably later today even, I'll be doing a review. I have got a new kit. As I say, I didn't get anything at Milton Keynes. All I got was a few bits and pieces off of Ed from Premium Hobbies. And one of them was some Mr. Surfacer 1200. And a few of the lacquer paints. You can see my lacquer paints range is growing now. I've got 1, 2, 3, got 4 shelves there of them. And it's almost filled that shelf up now. So I think I've got pretty much all I need now. Just a couple of colours that seem to be hard to get. So yeah, I didn't buy anything at Milton Keynes. So I did actually order something though. Well, if you call it ordering, watch the review, I'll tell you all about it. So yeah, that's it really. So I'll see you all soon. As I say, with the primers, if all you're doing is priming a figure or priming a tank and you don't intend to do any post work, okay, then your Viejo primers are going to be fine. All right. The trouble is with Viejo primer, as soon as you try and sand it, it tends to peel and it doesn't stick to the plastic. This stuff kind of attacks the plastic slightly and etches in like an etch primer. So if you're doing it like you'll see me do with my Lancaster, and I'm using it to find seams, because when you look at parts you won't often see a seam, put a light coat of Mr. Surfacer on it, grey, okay, and it will make the seams pop. So anything that's there like a gap or anything you need to clean up will pop, and that is perfect for that because you can spray it on, you'll see it if you've got a bad scribe line or some rivets you've obliterated or something like that. It'll all stick out like a sore thumb and then you can deal with it. The trouble is if you use Viejo primer for something like that, as I say, when you try and sand it, it will just peel off. So it doesn't stick. The same as this stuff. This stuff is very good primer. This is the MiG one-shot UMP whatever. Very, very good primer. But it doesn't etch itself into the plastic like this stuff does. Okay, so, but you can still sand it. You can still feather it out. But you can't use it, as far as I know, you can't use it as like the Mr. Surfacer for doing your filling of gaps and stuff like that. I mean, you're going to know, I love the stuff. Mr. Surfacer is probably my favourite modelling accessory. I absolutely love this stuff. And as I say, this stuff here, MRP, this kind of etches into the plastic as well, I think. It absolutely stinks. You need a booth, do outside, whatever. But it's actually a very, very good primer. But it's so thin, you have to put a load of it on. So, or not a load of it, you just have to apply many coats. It's good if you want, you know, a very, very fine primer that goes on very lightly. Perfect, you know, but anyway, I've talked enough about paints and primers. I'll see you all soon for another review, guys. Oh, just one more thing, quickly, before I go. Thank you very much. A lot of you are very concerned about my eyes, as am I. A couple of weeks ago, I was modelling, making that turret, and all of a sudden, I realised I can't see anything. So I tried using the overhead thing. I can't really get on with that. I don't like having it sat there, you know, probably because I wear glasses as well. So tried that, but generally I use this thing here, which is like a magnifier with a lid on it. I can look through there and put the stuff under there. That's what I tend to use. I think that all the fine detail work with the cockpit and that turret on that X-Wing Nut Wings border model Lancaster is done my eyes in. So I think basically they've sort of been overworked, and basically if I don't do any modelling for a day or so, things seem to feel a lot better. I have got an appointment coming up, June the 15th I think it is, so I should get some new glasses. I'll get an eye test, get some new glasses. In the meantime I might go and buy some reading glasses and see. Andrew was telling me that he just bought some high strength reading glasses and uses them at the bench, so I think I might give that a go. So basically, yeah, not to worry, guys. Thank you for all your concern. It's not like I'm suddenly losing my eyesight. It's not like I've suddenly lost my distance sight as well. It's just that I think the close-up stuff, and I've probably realised with this wingnut wing stuff being so fine and all the tiny details I'm painting and that, I think I'm finding that, you know, my eyesight's been bad for a little while. It's just that I haven't noticed because I've been using this overhead thing. So anyway, I shall see you all soon. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thank you for being a Patreon. And I shall see you all soon. Bye for now.